Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 122nd Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. The team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Spartan Leonidas, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction, a very experienced RTW player. Then we have Lion Dwarf, Brotherhood member Lion Dwarf, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. Then we have Brotherhood member Killer B. As you can see, as usual, he's got Elitza on the beginning of his name. As I said before, that's an ancient clan from the roots of RTW that Killer got to hear about, and I think that's his way of keeping that clan's name alive by putting it on the front of his name. But it is actually Brotherhood member Killer B. Then we have myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. So there's our team there. I know Spartan Leonidas has been playing RTW for maybe 8 or 9 years, and I know that Killer's been playing for about the same time. So we've got quite a bit of experience on our team, but you wait till you see the other team. I think this is going to be a really great battle for you to watch. And here we have the other team. We have Titans Mohammed, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. Then we have Wolves Snapdragon, who has also bought the Rome Scipio faction. And then we have TNG Thor, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. And then we have COH Orman Lang, and he has bought the Scipio faction. So you can see there they've all bought the Scipio faction there. As I say, it should be a great game for you to watch. At this very early stage of the battle, I thought I would give you a general overview of the battle situation here, where you can see the armies squaring up to each other. Over on our right flank here, you can see the enemy Scipii army. Infantry and cavalry are moving aggressively against our SBQR ally there. It's always nice to see an aggressive attack. Remember what I've said in other Brotherhood battle videos, that if you attack, you keep the enemy on the back foot. They have to react to you. So being aggressive, doing the attacking is always, as long as you're careful with the way you do it, it's always quite a good thing, really. You see there's a lot of pilots being exchanged here. So they're going to be causing a heck of a lot of damage to both teams there. Now if you notice here over on our right, can you see a large build-up of enemy cavalry here? And for all intents and purposes, it looks like there could be one heck of a massive hit here on our right flank. But if you also notice, we've brought our cavalry across to support our SBQR ally there. See all our cavalry there, poised, ready to counter-attack if all that cavalry decides to go in. My guess is if they do charge in, then the enemy Scipii infantry will go in first to engage our allies' troops, and then the cavalry are hit. But whether they'll take a chance on charging there, bearing in mind that we've got all our cavalry there as well, we'll just have to wait and see. Looking further down the battle line, you can see it's quite quiet in the centre. Quite quiet in two centre armies there. And over on our left flank, you can see that my army is facing Orman's army there. And it's quite quiet there at the moment too. But as you've seen in other battle videos, these quiet places can all of a sudden turn into where the action's really taking place. So it'll be interesting to see. As you can see, there's units in testudo. Obviously, because that pilot hits do less damage on a testudo unit, so that's why some people use a testudo. If you notice here, sometimes lightning cavalry hits. Now, did you see Spartan Leonidas spotted that cavalry coming in and ran his infantry back? If he'd left his infantry there, they would have probably been routed by those two cavalry units. So that was a smart move there by Spartan Leonidas, and showed great battlefield awareness too. And we pulled that infantry unit back to stop it being routed. But as you see, there's a heck of a lot of cavalry out on this right flank, and this is where the action could really start off at any time. So as you can see here, there seems to be a lot of tactical movements going on here with the infantry and cavalry, almost ready to attack our right flank there. say over on our left flank here, there's not a lot going on, but in the centre here you can see a testudo being formed. I thought new players watching this, you might like to see how a testudo is actually formed there. As you can see now, you can see as each one of those put their shields on the top and at the sides. As you can see, that gives the infantry inside that testudo unit a lot of protection from pilers and arrows as well. So that's a nice little shot of a testudo being formed there for new players. As you can see, here's a general overview of the situation. If you notice there that Killer has got, he's just left his units in open order, 2 units in his piler shield units in open order there, and hasn't put them into testudo. Some of the older players on RTW tend not to use testudo that much. They tend to just leave their piler shield units in open order, whereas most of the modern players tend to maybe put their piler shield units into testudo. But of course, it all depends on what's actually happening on the battlefield at the time. Then here you can see we're exchanging pilers here, our two lots of piler shield units there. And we've both got our cavalry behind our infantry as well, so if either of us want to charge our cavalry in, the other one's got his cavalry there to counter attack. Say in the centre, it looks quite quiet at the moment, not a lot going on in the centre. And over on the right flank you can see that a lot of the forward units of both armies there are in testudo. And just saying about lightning cavalry strikes, can you see how bang, he's just putting his cavalry strike in there, hitting some units like that, doing the damage that he wants to do, and then pull the cavalry back out. Do you remember what we've talked about in other battle videos of ours, how the cavalry charge in, get the full cavalry charge bonus, don't let them hang around too long fighting the infantry, and pull them back, rally them, and get ready for another charge. I must say our ally here on the right, our SPQ, our ally here, seems to have lost a lot of men over there on the right through the aggressive attack of the enemy cavalry and infantry there. I still got a feeling this is where the action could actually kick off this end, but especially when I see all the enemy cavalry, most of the enemy cavalry poised to hit on our right flank here. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, you see once again it's quite quiet over here on the left after that initial pilot exchange between the piler shield units. Quite quiet here on our left. As you can see, the enemy Scipii general is now sending more pilers into my piler shield unit there. If you notice, Killer's pulled his SBQR infantry back a bit there just to kind of rally and reorganize his troops. Meanwhile, over on the right here, you can see some, as I said, some lightning cavalry hits going in there, hitting our enemies, hitting our allies' SBQR units there, causing damage and then just pulling back. You can see the enemy Scipii cavalry generally was thinking about charging in, did you see? And then decided not to, and just pull his cavalry back a little bit there. But at one stage he was going to charge in there, but with all our allies' cavalry there waiting, maybe he thought better of that then. As you can see, there's a lot of skirmishing, a lot of little battles going on here over on the right flank between units. It wouldn't surprise me if the enemy Scipii player Mohammed bought some units around the flank there. As you can see over here, our allies are charging in some cavalry, some Julii cavalry into a enemy Scipii unit there. As you can see here, you can see some Scipii cavalry charging in. And once again, they seem to charge in and then change their mind and pull back there. Didn't kind of fully commit to that cavalry charge, but they're just all there. You can see their intent is to actually hit when they feel it's right. As I say, I'll try and give you a general overall, if you like, overview of the whole battle, so you can actually try and see what's going on. the only trouble is with these big 4v4s, if there's action starts on the other flank, trying to get over to film everything for you can be a little bit difficult, but that's why I'm trying to give you overviews, and if we see anything happen we can zoom in quickly. Here you can see in the centre left here the enemy charging in, some cavalry into our allies' SBQR testudo unit there. But in general, over on the left here, it is quite quiet. And even in the right centre, there's not a lot going on. It just seems to be over on the right flank that things seem to be happening a bit. As you can see here, can you see what I said earlier about maybe Mohammed might bring a couple of infantry units around the flank? If you notice here, he's brought a couple of infantry units around the flank, and if you notice, there's cavalry, enemy cavalry in behind that infantry. There's a couple of infantry units there. I think the enemy team may have decided it's time to hit our right flank here. Now here's something I wanted to show you. You know, we've got open order pilot shield units. Because they're in open order, they suffer less damage. Now if you notice here, the units are in close order, and if they get hit by pilot in close order, you'll see that they suffer a heck of a lot of damage in comparison to if they were in an open order. If you notice there that our ally there on the right has got his units in close order. Now can you see the enemy pilot throwing their pilots into his close order infantry there? Can you see the casualties that he's taking? This is a great thing for new players to see this. That's why we have pilot shield units in open order, because they don't suffer so many casualties in open order. But as you see there, in close order, they can suffer massive casualties. So that was a good example for new players to see why we put pilot shield units in open order in front of our main battle lines. I think our allies there, some of his units have been reduced down to less than 20 men through the pilot strikes from the enemy units there. So there's, as I say, it's a good example for new players to see exactly what happens when close order units get piloted by the enemy. You can see the enemy Scipii infantry and cavalry here. You can see they're starting to make their move here on our right flank. Just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of the situation. So over on our right flank here, you can see that things may be a little bit precarious for our team here, with all the enemy cavalry and the infantry attacking as well. So I don't think things are necessarily looking very good for us on our right flank. In the right centre here, you can see that our ally is just biding his time at the moment. Over on our left flank, can you see that I'm trying to do a left wide flanking action there? Now the reason I'm doing that is to try and take off some of the pressure from our right flank. I thought by trying to do a left flanking action here, I could actually take the pressure off our right flank and maybe bring some more of the enemy units over this side. But with my cavalry over on that right flank and the enemy cavalry here, then I'm not sure if I want to go around any more left, because obviously he'll swing his cavalry out to my left flank with a view to charge into my flank. So and I don't really want to move my cavalry from the right, because I think it might be needed over on that right flank. So I'm not sure how much further round I'm going to move, but if I can hold his cavalry and his infantry units here, then instead of them being able to send over to the other flank, then that's a good thing. Meanwhile, over on our right flank here, you can see our ally SBQR general there is attacking with a couple of infantry units. The only thing is, I'm just thinking that if the enemy send in a couple of cavalry units there, they could take out his those couple of engaged SBQR units. We just have to see. And there you go. Can you see the enemy Scipio general spotted that? You're going to charge in just a couple of cavalry units. Bang! As they hit, probably they might not rout the SBQR units, but they will dramatically reduce their numbers. And I would think if he sends in another couple of cavalry units, and there you go, can you see he's pulling two cavalry units back. They've got their full cav charge bonus, sending in another two, so they get their full cav charge bonus. The first couple that went in kind of weakened them. The next one went in he's hoping to rout them then with that attack. Nice tactics here by the enemy team. As you can see, they're getting wider and wider on our right flank. If you see what I mean, they're going out wider and wider, stretching us with good tactics here by the enemy team. Now if you notice here, the Scipio cavalry general must be feeling very confident because he's charging straight into our allies' cavalry there. So of course our ally now counterattacks his cavalry. Now it's the first ones to get reinforcements over to there. I think it's going to make a difference over on our right flank. Can you see that more enemy cavalry are charging in? If you notice that our allies moving his SBQ or infantry over to that side as well. We're just sending reinforcements of our cavalry in now. Do you notice that very often you tell them to attack and they just stop for a few seconds where they kind of get themselves ready and then charge in? And if you notice there, both my allies SBQR cavalry and my Julio cavalry have charged in together there to try and help our ally there on the right flank. See, we've routed a few of the enemy units there. Just going to pause the game for a second for us to take stock of the situation. There's so much going on all over the battlefield. Right, so here on our right you can see that my ally and myself have counterattacked with cavalry and managed to rout several of the enemy units there. But if you notice, remember that our team is SBQR and Julii, and you can see that all the blue are the enemy. So if you look here on the right flank, you can see how outnumbered we are by the enemy Scipio units there. Meanwhile, on the centre right, can you see our Julii allies attacking? Can you see here looks like he's going to take 3 units around the back of the enemy Scipii there. If you notice here that the enemy are attacking our SBQ ally here on the left centre, and if you notice now the enemy Scipii infantry starting to attack my infantry there as well. So I just want to show you a general picture of how the battle's looking so far. It's just an over picture of actually what's happening. But our right flank does not look very good to me. If you look at all the enemy Scipii units over there, you can see that we're I don't think things are looking very good. Let's see what happens. Right, if you notice there, I'm rallying my cavalry. Remember, I've got my forward charge cavalry bonus, so I don't just want to charge them in piecemeal. I want to rally them, organise them again, and then when they're out, and then charge straight back in. So I'm charging in wedge formation, 6 cavalry units, straight into the enemy infantry, and as they hit, you can see they go in and bang as the impact of that cavalry goes in there. I might not rout too many of the enemy infantry there with that hit, but it will cause them a lot of casualties, and maybe the next cavalry hit that goes in might rout a lot of their units. As you see, once again, I've got my full cavalry charge bonus. I don't want to hang around there fighting infantry. I want to pull my cavalry back, rally them, and get ready to charge in again. As I say, our right flank is not looking very good. If you look at the enemy blue Scipii units there, you can see that we are quite heavily outnumbered. So I'm not sure how well we're going to do on this right flank. As you can see, I've rallied my cavalry. I'm charging them in again. Trying to rout some more of the enemy infantry there. And if you see, the enemy are now counter-attacking with their cavalry. Once again, I don't want to hang around too long there fighting any infantry. I just want to get my full cavalry charge bonus and then extract my cavalry units. Right, I'm just going to pause the game again here so we can take stock of exactly what's happening. As you can see here, there's not a lot of our allies SBQR units left, and you can see there's a lot of enemy Scipii infantry pulling in there, so things are not looking very good on our right. But on our centre right, do you remember we saw our Julii ally taking infantry units around the rear of the enemy Scipii infantry there? See, he took them around the rear and is now attacking the enemy Scipii infantry from the rear as well as the front. New players watching this, great tactical move. If you can do that, that's great. Remember, units are weak in the rear and their flank. And then in the centre here, you can see there's still a bit of action going on. But over on our left flank here, can you see that the enemy Scipii infantry are aggressively attacking me, and also he's got his 6 cavalry units. And don't forget, my cavalry units are over on the right flank trying to help my allies, so I am actually got no cavalry shield here at all for myself. And so the enemy's got, I think it looks like about 6 cavalry units there, plus he's aggressively attacking me with his infantry. Things are not looking very good on either flank for the Brotherhood team. As you can see here, he's wisely taking his cavalry round to the flank. He's got plenty of time. He knows my cavalry is a long way away, trying to help my allies. A lot of my cavalry units are extremely battle damaged. So, and if you look at his cavalry units, they still seem to be pretty well intact. And now he's charging from the side. If you notice, I've turned some of my infantry units to face the threat. Have you noticed I've turned them to face the left flank there? And you can see all that cavalry charging in there. That is one massive hit. You can see units of mine starting to rout. I'm just going to pause the game here once again for us to take stock, because there's so much going on all of a sudden here. Right, over on our right flank, after a ferocious battle, you can see that our right flank is finally given and is folded, and the enemy Scipii army has become victorious on our right flank, and are now running units over as fast as they can to the centre to attack us in the rear. So that was a ferocious fight on the right, but unfortunately we lost that. On the right centre here, you can see that our Julii ally is doing extremely well against the Scipii army that was in front of him. As you can see, Killer here, our SBQ, our ally, is ferociously fighting another enemy Scipii army in front of him. And over on our left flank here, you can see my army is getting battered by massive infantry hits and cavalry hits as well. So, as I say, I think, to be honest with you, looking at this situation with the battle at the moment, apart from our right centre, things are not looking very good for our team. As you can see here, the Scipii generals using the experience. He's pulling his Scipii cavalry back, as I said, and then he charged back in to get the full cavalry charge bonus. If you notice, instead of sending my cavalry over to my flank, I'm sending cavalry into the centre with an eye, a larger tactical eye of the battlefield, to try and help my allies kill as many of the and rout as many of the Scipii infantry over on our right centre there, hopefully enabling them to come over to give me a hand. There, I know a lot of people would say, well, I should have brought what's left of my cavalry over to help on my left flank, but I thought on a larger tactical look at the battlefield, it was best to help here to try and kill as many of and rout as many of the enemy infantry here, to give my allies a chance to get over, maybe to help me. If you notice there that the enemy Scipii cavalry are charging into the back of my allies there. If you notice, my infantry is getting battered with cavalry hits, infantry hits. I'm just hoping I'm going to be able to hold long enough for my allies to be able to maybe deal with the other armies. If you can see, the victorious enemy Scipii infantry are coming across now to attack us in the rear. I'm afraid here on our left flank things are not looking very good. As I say, I'm just trying to hold for as long as I can, just trying to hold the enemy up to keep units interested in my army, while hopefully my allies can deal with the other enemy there. As I say, you've got to have a look at the overall battle picture. Maybe always keep an eye on what's happening where you are, but keep an eye on what's happening in the overall battle picture as well. We call it battlefield awareness in the Brotherhood. Right, as you can see here, the victorious enemy Scipii infantry from our right flank has moved over, and are now attacking now. But if you notice that a lot of my allies are now being able to move over to help me on our left flank here. So that's great team support there. I've just managed to hold on long enough for my allies to get across to give me a hand here. All the time with my really battle damaged cavalry units, I was charging into those enemy Scipii troops attacking my infantry, but with such small battle damaged cavalry units left, they kind of weren't doing a lot there. But I'm glad I managed to hold in time to give my teammates time to get over to me. Anyway, first thing I'd like to say is that was a really great battle and really well played to everybody in the game. I thought the enemy team showed some great strategic and tactical moves, some really great cavalry hits, and some really great infantry movements as well. So really well done to the other team. I'd like to say really well done to Lion Dwarf, Killer, and Spartan Leonidas. I thought their skill and experience on the battlefield showed really well there. Really great teamwork. Where there was danger on the battlefield, I noticed we all got there. Unfortunately, on our right flank, the enemy outnumbered us so much that we couldn't kind of prevail there. So really well done to the enemy team on our right flank. But I think in the centre and on the left flank we managed just to do enough to manage to win the battle. So it was a great battle to be in. If you notice, my kills are extremely small, and that's because most of the time I was just defending and just using my cavalry for attacking. Remember, if you want good kills, you have to be aggressive. If you defend a lot, then you won't get the good kills. Spartan Commander saying, I hope you enjoyed this battle. Look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.